Located in the Mimaropa region, this archipelagic province is the crown jewel of the Philippines. Its stunning coastlines, biodiversity, and vibrant culture has captivated travelers around the world. Not only is it renowned for its pristine beaches, crystal clear waters, and underground exploration, it's a prime location for road trips and motorbike adventures. There's also a sizable Vietnamese community on the island. Back in the 70s, many Vietnamese refugees traveled to neighboring countries after the fall of Saigon in 1975, one of them being the Philippines, mainly in Palawan. These refugees then established small eateries and restaurants as a way of living. So if you love Vietnamese food, you can enjoy it here, as well as a fusion between the two countries. If you're planning to visit this island, motorbiking or driving is the way to go. While motorbikes are a common mode of transportation, it's not as common to rent one throughout the country. However, this is not the case in Palawan, as it's quite popular to go on a road trip from Puerto Princesa to El Nido and visit the many attractions and majestic beauty along the way. If you aren't keen on renting a motorbike or car, other modes of transportation are available, such as a bus, private taxi, or trike. Trikes are used for short distances, usually within city limits. They range from 8 to 10 pesos within the city and about 50 to and from the airport. Buses are used for longer distance travel, both within the city as well as reaching anywhere around the island. They start at around 588 pesos or $10 US. Taxis are also used for longer distance travel, but are slightly more expensive. They start at around 880 pesos or $15 US, but you can also find some for $10. Car rentals start as low as 1,400 pesos a day for a sedan, 1,600 for a van, and 2,000 for an SUV or a truck. All you really need is a sedan if you don't plan on going off-road. But I would recommend an SUV that's a 4x4 just in case you change your mind. The rental place I use and recommend is Plong Car Rentals. They have great customer service, free delivery, or friendly with no hassle. For more information, you can visit their website at palawanselfdrivingcarrental.com. For motorbike rentals, scooters that have 110 cc's start at around 450 pesos a day, a 125cc at 550, a 150 at 700, and 450s at around 2,900 pesos. The motorbike rental place I recommend is Palawan Days or Ezra's Motorbike and Car Rental. I would also recommend getting insurance throughout your rental period. As I mentioned, I rented from Plong's. The car I got is a Suzuki Jimny. This thing was pretty awesome. As soon as I saw it, I knew I had to drive it. I didn't even know these cars existed until I started doing research. Palawan is quite safe for visitors, particularly from Puerto Princesa northwards. On the other hand, the southern tip of the island near the Sulu Sea in Malaysia is where one should take more caution. There is a risk of potential kidnapping, so exercise caution when planning or heading down south. I'm not saying there's a high probability of being kidnapped, as I met and talked to several people who have looped the entire island of Palawan safely. But since there's a potential risk, it's always best to be extra cautious. With Puerto Princesa and El Nido as prime tourist destinations, pickpocketing and low-level scams can occur. However, we didn't experience any of that throughout our visit. Overall, I would rank our visit quite safe. We didn't run into any problems or scams. I would, however, be cautious of the traffic. Like most Southeast Asian countries, the traffic is frenetic. So if you aren't used to that, that's one thing you should be aware of. And most likely the biggest thing that you have to worry about. The island has a tropical climate with two distinct seasons. The dry season, which runs from November to May, and the wet season from June to October. The dry season is perfect for outdoor activities with clear skies and little rain. Temperatures range from 24 to 32 degrees Celsius or 75 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The pros for visiting during this time is you can relax at the beach, dive, snorkel, and explore the island with little worry of rain or a monsoon interrupting your plans. The cons, however, are higher airfares and hotel prices. It's also the busiest period of the year. Popular spots can and will get overcrowded. Not to mention the heat and humidity is at its height. During the wet season, expect there to be brief showers with intermittent sunshine throughout the day. The temperature is still warm, ranging from 21 to 29 Celsius or 70 to 85 Fahrenheit, but not nearly as bad as when it peaks during the dry season. The pros for going during the wet season are fewer crowds, less expensive travel, and accommodation. The cons is the rain and the overall weather, which can interrupt outdoor activities, tours, as well as flights. We went at the beginning of December, which saw sunny skies and occasional showers. The heat and humidity wasn't as bad as expected, but probably because the dry season just started. I would recommend going in between seasons, particularly in November, when it isn't too hot or too rainy. There's several options for accommodation throughout the island, especially in Puerto Princesa and El Nido. They range from luxurious 5-star resorts to humble beach bungalows, hotels, and Airbnbs that are budget-friendly. The cost of accommodation will depend on the location and type. Airbnbs can cost as little as $15 a night, as well as guest houses and homestays. Hotels as little as $35 a night. A dorm at a hostel can be as low as $15, and a private room as low as $25 a night. And resorts at around $120 and up. During the peak season, these prices will be inflated and availability may be limited. Therefore, it's advisable to book your accommodation in advance. We had an issue finding accommodation in El Nido when we arrived in November. The places we wanted to stay at were already booked up, so it's definitely worth reserving ahead of time. Getting here will depend where you're at on the island. If you're flying to the Philippines and going straight to Palawan, you can either fly to Puerto Princesa or El Nido from Manila. Once you arrive in Manila, I would suggest staying the night and taking a flight the next morning. That way you aren't rushing to your connecting flight. As mentioned before, Ninoy Aquino Airport is by far the worst airport I've been to. It's highly inefficient, so take that into consideration. I usually arrive at the airport 1 to 2 hours in advance, but for Manila, I would suggest arriving 3 to 4 hours. It's usually that bad. If you're already in the country, you're either gonna first make your way to Manila or Cebu before catching your connecting flight to PPS or El Nido. There are 2 main airlines in the country: Philippines Airlines, which is the international carrier, and Cebu Pacific, which is the domestic. There are also flights available with other carriers such as AirAsia and Swift Air. Flights can be as low as $120 one way, and it takes about an hour and a half from Manila or an hour and 45 minutes from Cebu. This capital is endowed with rich natural resources and highly diverse flora and fauna, found both in land and sea. With a population over 300,000, it's a highly urbanized city in the Mimaropa region of the Philippines. However, the city has the largest forest cover in the country and boasts one of the healthiest coral reef, which makes it an eco-tourist paradise of choice. It's where urban and nature coexist in a balanced relationship. The municipality is best known for its impressive cave system, hidden coves, and crystal clear lagoons. We stayed at 4 places while in the city: 2 Airbnbs and 2 hotels. The first one was somewhat near the center of town, but far enough where it was quiet. Staying here costs $45 a night, which is around the average of what you'll find for Airbnbs. The communication was great, the staff was helpful and friendly, there's free parking in the next building over, and they also offered tours. This place was nice, clean, and had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a balcony, and was at the top of a 4-story building. It also had a full kitchen, one inside the condo as well as outside, but didn't have a washer or laundry service. Fortunately, there's one nearby. There are 2 other rooms available, one on the 2nd floor and the 3rd. The The only downside to this place is if your room is up top, there's no elevators, so if you have a lot of luggage, you have to carry each one up the stairs. Otherwise, this place is great. I would recommend this place for people that want more of a quiet atmosphere. The second Airbnb we stayed at was in the center of town, right off the main road, which is great for walking to nearby places and sightseeing. Joanne's place cost $65 a night, and it's well worth it. It's my favorite one that we stayed at in Puerto Princesa. This Airbnb was even better than the first one. It's larger, and you get the entire 2-story property. While this place is on the main road, it's easy to miss. The driveway is narrow and unassuming. It took us about 15 minutes to find this place. I eventually parked the car and walked to find it, because I kept missing it when driving by. The interior was clean, a full kitchen and living room on the first floor with comfortable sofas and a TV. This place was well furnished and decked out. The AC was also nice and powerful. The kitchen has 3 stovetops, an exhaust, utensils and Tupperware, a fridge, sink, water dispenser, microwave, and a large table. There's 3 bathrooms, one on the first floor and 2 on the second. One of them being that door on the left, and this one being the bathroom on the second floor. This property has 2 bedrooms with 3 beds, both located on the second floor. The master bedroom has a queen-size bed and a walk-in closet. And the other room has 2 bunk beds. Both rooms have a bathroom, AC unit, and a fan. This place also has Wi-Fi, a washer, barbecue grill, iron, safe, smoke detector, first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, as well as free parking on premises, though the parking spot is quite cramped. Again, this was my favorite accommodation that we stayed at in the city. I would recommend this place to anyone, and I would stay here again. While this place is situated in the center of town, the property is quite hidden, being situated in a small courtyard, so you do get a little bit of peace and quiet. This next place we stayed at was my least favorite. The overall property itself looked great and had a traditional theme. They also have a bar and restaurant on the quad. The room we stayed at was on the second floor. It had 2 beds and a bathroom, but it was small and cramped. The room was made out of bamboo and hut material that felt like it's seen better days. The reason we stayed here was because we decided to stay an extra night in the city, and this was a place that we ran into while driving. Overall, this place was okay, and it was cheap at $23 a night. There really isn't anything wrong with this place, but just personal preference. So if you're looking for a place to stay last minute and that's cheap and close by to the old market and the Baywalk, this is a good option. Our last accommodation was Canvas Hotel. This place was nice, the building looked new, the interior layout and design was clean and spacious. The staff were also friendly and helpful. Many of the walls are heavily painted with works of art. Each floor has a different story through vibrant murals depicting Palawan's culture, nature, and mythology. The room is impeccable. It's well furnished, decorated, and thoughtfully designed. It comes with a TV, office table, and charging station, as well as several outlets. The bathroom is also nicely done. The toilet and shower were separated and had good plumbing with running hot water. The property also has a nice courtyard with a swimming pool and a place to hang out. We unfortunately didn't take a dip in the pool, which I low-key regret, but it was just too hot outside. But I can see myself staying here again, so there's always next time. Their dining area is also nice and spacious. Your stay also comes with a complimentary breakfast buffet, and the options were delicious. The airport is also located right across the street, so if you have a flight to catch the next morning, this is a great option. This was my second favorite accommodation in Puerto Princesa, and I recommend this place to anyone, so make sure to check it out if you're in the area. Rooms here start at $60 a night and is worth it. You can find more information on their website at canvasboutiquehotel.com. There are plenty of places to eat in Puerto Princesa. Palawan is known for its seafood, so if you're a seafood lover, this is a place for you. If you're looking for food while exploring, make sure to check out the Old Market. This place is a giant wet market with shops, vendors, and street food scattered throughout. I love these places and always go out of my way to visit them. It's not only a mecca for food, but also street photography. This place is a vibe. Just make sure to have an umbrella or cover up if you're planning to explore this place midday. The heat and humidity gets intense. The two restaurants I recommend is Khao Loi, which features traditional dishes from the Philippines and Palawan. It also has a nice atmosphere with great ambience and friendly staff. They're also open late and close at 11 p.m. The other place I recommend is San's Japanese restaurant right across the street. The sushi and ramen here was amazing. So if you like sushi, this is the place to go. The ambience is also great and the property is spacious. Dining is outdoors with plenty of shade. We ordered 4 rolls and ramen, and they were all delicious. And both places accept credit cards. All in all, 5 out of 5 stars for both restaurants. A popular fast food joint in the Philippines is Jollibee, so make sure to try that as well. While Puerto Princesa isn't necessarily a place one thinks of when thinking of picturesque landscapes and paradise, Honda Bay sure fits the description. Unlike Sabang, which takes a full day to visit, Honda Bay is only a 30-minute drive from the center of town. And if you aren't driving, you can either take a trike or a jeepney. A trike costs about 700 pesos round trip and about 50 on a jeepney one way. Here you can island hop to several within the bay. The tour office is this blue building. There are different packages available. The one we chose took us to Pambado Reef, Luli Island, and Cowrie Island, which cost a total of 2,400 pesos or $40 US. Before heading out, a few things to bring with you are sunscreen, hat, sunglasses, swim attire, a change of clothes, as well as towels and water. I would also bring extra cash with you for activities they offer on the island. There are stores nearby the dock where you can buy all these items, but the prices are much higher compared to if you bought them at a grocery store. We first made our way to Pambado Reef, which took about 15 minutes to reach the platform. Here you can snorkel and see some of the marine life. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of me snorkeling. This reef was pretty nice, but I didn't see much marine life during my visit. The water wasn't that calm, so that might have been the reason. After snorkeling for about 30 minutes, we then headed to our next destination of Luli Island. Luli Island is great for swimming, sunbathing, snorkeling, and taking a stroll on the beach. The name comes from a combination of 2 Tagalog phrases, lulubog, which translates to "it will sink," and lilitaw, which translates to "it will appear," as the island is known for disappearing and reappearing with the tides. I was surprised how empty this island was when we got here. It was just the 2 of us, the crew, and about a handful of other guests. So if you're looking for peace and quiet on the beach, this is the place to be. There's also a restaurant that serves food and drinks. After spending about 30 to 45 minutes here and taking a quick dip on the water, we hopped back on our boat and made our way to Cowrie Island. This being our last stop, we spent more of our time here. It's the largest island on our tour and has several activities available, including riding a banana boat, kayaking, jet skiing, massages, volleyball, and other marine activities. With its scenery, this island is the epitome of what you imagine an island paradise would be. It's clean, spacious, great food, mellow vibes, plenty of shade, and great hospitality. So if you're visiting Honda Bay, make sure to visit this island. Cowrie Island also has a dedicated restaurant and bar that serves home-cooked meals with an option for a buffet. The dish we ate was sweet and sour salmon and barbecue chicken with a side of rice. The food was excellent. It tasted delicious, fresh, well cooked, and I had no complaints. Overall, this experience was great. It's a lesser known destination compared to Sabang or El Nido, but it's well worth it. The only thing I slightly regret is not exploring the island more and walking to the backside. So if you're heading here, that's what I would recommend doing. This tour takes about half to an entire day to complete, depending on how many islands you hop and how long you stay at each island. After lunch, we relaxed a little bit, enjoyed the scenery, took a little dip before heading back to the wharf. Sabang is a tiny village on the west coast of the island, about 75 kilometers away or about 47 miles from Puerto Princesa. It's about a 2-hour drive by bus, which costs about 50 to 150 pesos, or a private taxi which costs about 8,000, which is around 140 US dollars. It took us about 5 hours to drive, with stops and sightseeing along the way. Again, the most popular thing to do here is go to the underground river. Once you get into town, make your way to the pier where you can park your car across the street. You can then buy tickets at the ticket office located right on the pier. You can either join a group or go on a private tour. Once you get your tickets, you'll then wait before boarding a boat to the underground river, which takes about 20 minutes to get to. Once you reach this place, you'll then disembark and trek a short distance away to board a kayak. You'll then get on a kayak to be paddled into the underground river. This cave was larger than I expected. The stalagmite and stalactite formations are amazing to witness. And even more amazing when you realize it took millions of years to look how it looks today. The passage you go through on the tour is actually only a fraction of the entire river network, which totals about 8 kilometers or 5 miles, with more passages being continually discovered. The tour takes about 30 to 45 minutes to complete and is well worth it depending on when you go. Luckily, there were barely any tourists during our visit, but it does become a tourist trap during the high season, especially during midday. I would advise going early in the morning or later in the evening when we went. There are a few Airbnbs in the area that start around 28 US dollars, but most accommodation you'll find here are hotels and resorts that start at around 60 US dollars for a decent place. This beachfront resort is 4 Points by Sheraton. Rooms here start at 100 US dollars a night. This lesser-known beauty of Palawan is home to the longest beach in the Philippines, at precisely 14.7 kilometers or 0.62 miles long. Long Beach is said to be even longer than Boracay's famous White Beach. Like most of the island, San Vicente offers a laid-back attitude, ideal for travelers who want to lounge on the beach for hours. This region, however, feels more secluded than the rest of the island, separated by lush green mountains. It's roughly halfway from Puerto Princesa and El Nido, on the western shores of the island. Lodging here are mostly made up of luxury resorts, but there are a few budget-friendly accommodations one can find. We didn't arrive here until later in the evening, and the cell service wasn't that great, which made finding a place to stay more complicated. We basically drove around and checked out a few places. Some of them were still under construction, like this one. This place was charging $400 a night for an unfinished resort, which was ridiculous. We did find a place to stay at Club Agutaya, which cost around $130 a night. The whole property was amazing. It's surrounded by palm trees, it has a swimming pool in the back, a garden, and beach access. The main building itself is also nice. The interior layout is spacious with an aura of paradise. The rooms were clean, it comes with a TV, Wi-Fi, a nice bathroom, and running hot water. The staff and service were also friendly. They also have a dedicated restaurant in the back. The atmosphere of this place was pretty mellow. And since there weren't that many guests while we were staying here, we pretty much had the whole place to ourselves. We only saw about 4 other groups that were staying here. They also have a fair amount of food options to choose from. The dish we had were fish tacos, fried spring rolls, pork tocino, fried fish and eggs, as well as halo-halo. Everything we had was delicious, savory, and was prepped fresh. All of this cost us a total of 1,800 pesos, which is around $31. So everything here is fairly priced compared to the prices at home. But since this is a resort, the prices are higher compared to a standalone restaurant and food joints you'll find in the area. The main activity we did here was renting a sidecar and exploring the area. We were trying to make it to Bato ni Ningning, which is a large boulder on top of a vantage point overlooking the entire coastline. But the road to get there started getting pretty rough and we ended up not making it to the viewpoint. It's difficult to tell in the footage, but the terrain was pretty uneven and strenuous at times. In hindsight, this is one of the things I regret not following through. If you are heading to San Vicente, Bato is one of the places I would recommend checking out. We were riding this direction for about a couple of hours, stopping and going every time we saw something interesting. Once we got back to Long Beach, we then found an access point where we can take the sidecar on the beach without getting stuck. Yeah, this was one of the highlights for me in San Vicente. I love riding on the beach, especially on a motorbike. So yeah, this was pretty fun. I did do some donuts while I was here, which was pretty fun. I also wanted to fly the chair, which is a maneuver where you get the sidecar wheel up in the air, but I wasn't able to do it. It's a pretty simple trick to do. Whichever side the bucket or the cart is on, turn that direction, and because of centrifugal forces, the bucket will start to lift off the ground, but I wasn't able to do it. Maybe because it was the sand and there was too much traction, but I wasn't able to get it up. Next time, I'll probably try on the pavement. We rented the sidecar at the resort. You can rent them out for a half or a full day's ride. The cost for renting is about $25 for a full day and is well worth it. They're all 125 Honda scooters with a Euro bucket attached to it. I love sidecars and I've been wanting to ride one in this country, so it was a happy accident that we found one in San Vicente. The handling was pretty nice. It is a sidecar, so it's pretty wonky, and if it's your first time riding one, there's a short learning curve to it, like leaning on turns. What surprised me though was the torque and power. For a 125 scooter, it was pretty beefy. But yeah, I love these things. I eventually want to get one, like a Euro or a BMW ADV, and convert it into a sidecar, and just ride around with my pup. Roxas is a coastal town with a population of 65,000. It takes about 2 to 4 hours by bus from Puerto Princesa and is a good stopping point for people who want to take a break from their journey to El Nido. A few activities to do here is go island hopping, visit Umalat and Bulalacao Falls, or witness the thousands of fruit bat fly over the city nearly every night. Aside from the activities I mentioned, there really isn't much to do here, but there are quite a few places to eat. So naturally, this is where we stopped to get food. We found this Vietnamese restaurant that you should check out. The food here is pretty good. We got shrimp pancit and pork tocino, as well as a mango smoothie and coffee. After getting lunch, we stopped at a bakery, then we explored a little bit of the town before we made our way to our next point. Taytay is another town located on the eastern shores of the island. It has a population of 88,000 but felt even more smaller than Roxas. It's located 67 kilometers or 42 miles south of El Nido. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to reach El Nido from here, and is another option to stay the night before making your way there if you're already past Roxas. In the port town of Taytay, you'll find the historic fort of Santa Isabel, a testament to the town's storied past. The fort served as a defensive stronghold against Muslim raiders and was named in honor of Isabella II of Spain. It was originally completed in 1667 as a wooden structure. It was then reconstructed in 1748 by the Spanish using coral limestones. The entrance fee is 80 peso and is only 10 minutes away from the main road, so it's definitely worth checking out. Just down the road is a pier, and in the distance you'll see a large sign of the town perched up on a hill. Interestingly, the name Taytay comes from Taytayan, meaning a wooden or bamboo walkway that once connected nearby coastal areas. This quaint town is also a popular stop for activities like shipwreck diving and dolphin watching. We stayed here for about 30 to 45 minutes before we went on our way. With its limestone islands, breathtaking cliffs, pristine beaches, and a charming small-town vibe, it's no surprise that this region of the island attracts 500,000 visitors each year. El Nido is generally a safe destination, but like most tourist hotspots, petty crimes such as pickpocketing and scams can occur. However, during our visit, we didn't encounter any issues and felt completely safe walking around both during the day and night. The locals and foreigners that I encountered were all friendly. This small coastal town is located north of the island and takes about a full day's ride non-stop from Puerto Princesa. The primary modes of transportation here are walking or riding a trike. If you're driving, note that cars are not allowed in most parts of the town proper, and roadside parking is prohibited. However, a few parking lots are available if your accommodation is within town. If these lots are full, you'll need to park just outside town limits. In addition to driving or motorbiking, you can reach the area by bus or private taxi. Alternatively, you can fly directly into El Nido and work your way down to Puerto Princesa. The journey between El Nido and Puerto Princesa is scenic, with plenty of vegetation, lush forests, coastal passages, wide open fields, beaches, and interesting sights. There were several constructions we passed along the way, but nothing too bad. There's virtually no traffic. While this is a small coastal town, there isn't a shortage of places to eat. From grilled fish, prawns, squid, and crab, there are plenty of seafood dishes served in many different ways. So if you're a seafood lover, this place won't disappoint. Everything is prepped, cooked, and made fresh. And make sure not to miss out on the street food vendors scattered around town. These two were my favorite restaurants to go to, Saguan Restobar and C. Jane Restobar. Their food was bomb and delicious through and through. But you can't really go wrong at any of these restaurants. All the ones we tried were delicious. There's a wide variety of accommodations available in El Nido. El Nido's high-end resorts offer unparalleled experience with amazing views and hospitality. They start at around $600 a night. For mid-level hotels, you can find a decent one for as low as $100. For budget adventurers and travelers on a shoestring budget, hostels and guest houses are an option. Dorms start around $15, while private rooms start at $30 a night. Airbnbs are also available and start around $120 a night. No matter your budget and travel style, El Nido offers a wide variety of lodging. The most important thing to remember is to book and book early, especially during the high season. We decided to take our chances and not reserve a place until we got there, but we found it difficult to find a room since most of the places were full. Fortunately, we found one right on the beach. This place was pretty basic, but it was in town and it was convenient, so we booked it. This place costs $130 a night and comes with breakfast and beach access. While the town proper offers activities like visiting bars, clubs, trying local food, and shopping, the main draw of El Nido lies beyond its borders, primarily in island hopping adventures. El Nido features 4 main island hopping tours, Tour A, B, C, and D. Joining a group tour costs around $20 US, while a private one with your own boat costs around $200 to $300. Each tour typically takes about an entire day unless you choose to stay overnight at one of the islands. If you plan on experiencing all 4 tours, consider staying for at least 6 days and 5 nights. Use your first day to explore and enjoy the town. Dedicate days 2 through 5 to island hopping, and reserve your final day for either departure or another activity of your choice. The most popular island hopping tours are A and C, but that doesn't mean tours B and D lack charm and unique experiences. Initially, I planned to skip tours A and C entirely, thinking B and D would be less crowded. However, after speaking with a local tour operator, they convinced me to try tour A. Their advice: rent a private boat and depart early in the morning to avoid the rush of tourists. I followed their recommendation and it turned out to be one of the best decisions. The experience was serene and far more enjoyable without the crowds. If you want to fully savor the beauty of these islands with fewer tourists, I highly recommend this approach. While private tours are more expensive, they're absolutely worth it for the tranquility and exclusivity they provide. A private boat for tour A for 2 people is about 12,000 pesos, or about $200 and takes about 7 hours to complete. Tour A takes you to some of El Nido's most iconic spots, starting with the Big Lagoon, the tour's undeniable highlight. Afterwards, you'll then visit Secret Lagoon, enjoy swimming and snorkeling at Shimizu Island, and end with some relaxation at 7 Commando Beach before returning to El Nido. This tour includes a meal served on the boat, and you can choose your preferred meal when booking. The Big Lagoon stands out as the centerpiece of the experience, and right beside it is a small lagoon. It's a 45-minute boat ride from El Nido. Once you reach it, your boat will anchor at the entrance, and you'll kayak through its shallow waters. There were a few boats anchored near the entrance, but only a handful of tourists, making it even more enjoyable. By the time we left, larger crowds began to arrive. Once you're inside the lagoon, you'll then make your way through a small cave before looping back to the entrance. The weather was nice, the heat was tolerable, and it was partly cloudy. I would bring a hat or an umbrella for protection against the sun. When we got back to the shallow part, we spent a little bit of time here enjoying the scenery. This place is just incredible, and the water was pretty warm for swimming. The formation of this entire place with its clear waters and limestone is just incredible. Once we thought we spent enough time here and we saw more tourists coming, we then headed back to the boat. Our second stop is Secret Lagoon, about 30 minutes away. This right here is a resort located near Big Lagoon if you're interested in staying the night and wanting more time to enjoy the island. Once you've anchored near Minilok Island, you'll then have to swim through a small opening to reach Secret Lagoon. This place is pretty small. Luckily, there weren't that many people inside. This place was alright, but not really impressive after going to the Big Lagoon. Still worth checking out though, since you're already here. After spending about 20 minutes here, we then proceeded to Shimizu Island. Shimizu Island is where we snorkeled and ate our meal. We spent about an hour here just relaxing and enjoying the scenery. There was only one other boat that was anchored next to us, so we pretty much had the whole place to ourselves. There's a reef here you can explore, which was nice, but unfortunately I didn't see any sea turtles. Just make sure not to walk on the reef because they're pretty fragile and you're gonna have a bad time. These corals will cut through skin like butter. After this place, we made our way to our final stop at 7 Commando Beach. This picturesque beach is perfect for swimming and unwinding. We stayed here for another 30 to 45 minutes, relaxing and getting a few drinks. This place is nice to decompress and just chill out after the tour, and there's plenty of shade. For those interested, there's a resort on the island where you can stay overnight. Overall, this tour was excellent and I would recommend this to anyone. Just make sure to get a private boat so you aren't stuck in a tourist trap. It was great avoiding all the crowds going early. Tour A was the only one we ended up going to on this trip, since we spent more of our time in other parts of the island before arriving in El Nido. But here's some information of the other tours for people interested. Tour B takes you to Snake Island, also known as Vegan Island, Pinagbuyutan, Entuluna, Kadugdon Cove, and a special snorkeling site. A group tour costs 1,300 pesos or 22 US dollars, and private costs 10,000 pesos or 170 US dollars per person. Tour C takes you to Helicopter Island, Matinloc Island, Secret Beach, Star Beach, and Hidden Beach. Group tour costs 1,400 pesos or 24 US dollars. A private tour costs 10,500 pesos or 100 US dollars per person. Tour D takes you to different beaches. They include Ipil Beach, Cadlao Lagoon, Paradise Beach, Pasandigan Beach, and Bukal Beach. A group tour costs 1,200 pesos or 20 US dollars, and a private one costs 10,000 pesos or 170 US dollars per person. I would only recommend getting a private boat for Tour A and C since they're the most popular. But you really can't go wrong with any of the options. All of them are breathtaking, and they all come with a buffet meal. There's plenty of tour operators and companies to choose from, but this is the one we chose and they gave us a fair deal. Another activity to add on your list is hiking to Bulalacao Falls. It's about a 20 to 35 minute drive from El Nido, and is a short detour on the way to Nacpan Beach. There's a 50 peso entrance fee, and another 200 for a guide to walk you to the cascade. This place is open from 8 AM to 5 PM. And the hike takes about 30 to 45 minutes on an easy pace walk. It's an easy trail that most can accomplish. You'll cross a few creeks and some inclines, but nothing too extreme. The hike itself was pretty nice and enjoyable. You're surrounded by dense vegetation and it felt like you're in the middle of nowhere, which you pretty much are. This place is popular with locals and is great for families and picnics. If you are planning on picnicking, make sure to get all your food in El Nido as there's no stores nearby. Once you reach the place, there is a picnic table and restrooms. The The falls is made up of 5 cascades which you can climb up and swim at each plateau. The water here felt nice and refreshing. It's cold at first, but you quickly acclimate to it. This was the only hike we did in the Philippines and is worth it. It was a bit humid, but you're completely shaded. And most of the people we came across were locals. Nacpan Beach is another place to add to your itinerary. It's located approximately 45 minutes away from El Nido. If you're driving, note that some parts of the road aren't paved and it gets muddy at times. This beach is about a 4-kilometer strip of cream-colored sand with crystal clear waters, lined with coconut trees. A perfect place to relax for a couple of days. This powdery paradise was one of the secret getaways for tourists, until the beauty was discovered by many and eventually became one of the most popular spots in El Nido. In 2016, it was voted the world's 10th best beach by users on TripAdvisor. If you want a break from the hustle and bustle of town in El Nido, this is the place to go. During our visit, there was less people than I expected, which was quite a surprise because I expected more people being here, from everything I read and how popular it is. There really isn't much to do here except eat, relax, and be a beach bum. But if you want to experience a pristine beach in person that you'd find in a postcard, this is the place to go. The crystal clear turquoise water with its creamy soft sand is about the best it can get in these parts.